What's up people, my name is Kevin, welcome back to the OCD Gaming TV. Today we're going to do another art tutorial. And in this art tutorial we're going to be doing the torso. Right, so the torso that we're going to do is just going to be the front part of the torso. It's going to show you my thought process, my ink, my lining, and then my shading. Also do take note, I'm not going to give a tutorial on the dimensions and how far and the spacing and all those things. If you want to check those things, go back to my first video. It shows all the right proportions and stuff when it comes to the body. So like I said, we're going to be concentrating on the torso. So the material I'll be using today is, we're going to be using Clip Studio Pro because I love this. It's easy, it's simple, and it's nice to work with. Then secondly, I will be drawing on the Canvas GT221 Pro graphics display tablet because it's awesome also. Right, so getting back to the drawing. So we will be doing this.
Okay, I'm lost. I'm angry and I'm armed.
Right, so when we draw the body, we will always be making use of shapes. So first shape will always be a circle. Then we're going to go in for triangles. We're going to keep it angular, making use of diamond shapes, triangles, squares, and so forth. But you'll see that when we get into the drawing. I might also fast forward through some of the drawing stuff so the video doesn't become too long. But let's get into the drawing part of this and let's enjoy it. See you in the drawing part, people. So usually when I start, I like to start by getting a center line going. I also like to make use of a blue color just to get my thought process down there. I don't know, blue it's kind of relaxing to me, and also when I draw on paper, blue is easy to line over, so that's why I'm using the blue. As you can see there, I'm drawing a basic circle. That's going to be the main body or the main structure of my chest. And usually when you get the proportions going, don't concentrate too much on how round the circle is. Just get the general lining of the circle in there so that you can feel free or happy with it. Also then get a start point and an end point to your circle and try and duplicate that same spacing to the bottom also, so that you get like two equal parts to the torso. So the top part is going to be your chest and your rib cage, and then the bottom part is going to be your abs and your, I think it's called your obliques, I'm not sure, I might be wrong, but I think it's obliques or trapezoid, something like that. We'll get, if I get the right words, I'll put that down in there. So then also you divide the circle. That's going to be the top layer of your chest, and you see that small dot or circle that I put just below the bottom mark or the top mark. I do apologize for that. That's the chest bone that's going to come out of there, as you can see that I'm drawing here now. Usually you'll get to the side of the chest, where that's the end of the circles, and that's where your shoulders will start from, which I'm drawing in now. Try to make use of circles or triangles when you get in your shoulders. I like to use both of them, the circle and the triangle. It gives more it gives me a better idea. The circle is there for movement and the triangle is there to give the shape to the shoulder. So the next one that we're going to be drawing is the chest muscles. It's also called the pectoral muscles. So how I like to think of it is by making use of diamond shapes. As you can see there, you start out with triangles on both sides, and remember, what you do on the one side you must also do on the other side of the line. So that's where the diamond shape comes from. It's pretty easy, and remember also the stature of your character or the type of drawing that you do, that depends, or that will dictate the size of the chest that you are drawing. So the more heroic you want to go, the bigger the chest will be. The more nerdier or normal you'll go, the smaller the chest will be. So always just remember that when you draw the pectoral muscles, always keep it there in the background of your mind. So the next part that I'll be drawing is the ribcage. The ribcage is pretty simple. You're just going to basically start from at the ends of the chest, going down, and then going sharp inwards as the circle turns. And remember, you must take it a bit past the end point of the circle in a V shape. This is going to give you the shape and the idea of where the abdominal muscles are going to be later on. Now the curve that I'm putting in there, that's to stimulate the roundness of the rib cage, and it's also later going to be part of the I think you call it the dorsal muscles. I'm not, yeah, it's the dorsal muscles. So yeah, as you can see there, I'm drawing the V shape in. That's gonna help me form the when you get to the hips. Now, take note, when you draw the hips, especially with a superior and especially with the comic or with the drawing that I'm doing here, the hips, it's gonna be narrow than the chest part, to give that heroic stance part that you're drawing. So take note of that. And when I speak about the hips, I'm actually speaking about the oblique muscles. Easy to draw out. It's just like a sharp angle going outwards and then coming inwards, giving you that, again, a sharp inwards turn that gives you a diamond shape. Now the lower tier muscle that I'm drawing there is that V-shaped button, the V-shaped line that you get at the end of your stomach. Now also remember, when you're drawing the bottom part of the, or the obliques and the abdomen part, remember the center of the bottom half is going to be the point for the navel. So always keep that in mind. You can see I'm not putting it in there, I'll put it in later. It's just going to disseminate between the end of the abdomen or the six-pack and then the beginning of the rectimus abdominis. That's just that big stomach muscle you get at the bottom of your abdomen going down to the crotch area. So take that in mind. Then now I'll be fleshing out the shoulders and I think it's called the domomastiate. I think it's a deltoids. Yeah, either one of them. It's just basically the shoulder muscles that goes into the neck muscles. That's just to give the body that shape and that sturdiness. Remember also, the bigger you go, the stronger your character will look. The smaller you'll go, the more normal your character will look. The neck is pretty easy. It's just getting two lines vertically down, subdividing that outwards with a V shape again to the ends. And then what I usually do is I draw two circles. The top circle is usually going to be bigger, and then the bottom circle is usually going to be smaller. That's to give the Adam's apple. And you'll see why I do the circles. It's going to help me a lot when it comes into the shading part of this tutorial. Right, I think up from now on we can go a bit faster, because after I get the line down, I'm just going to fade the drawing out a bit, making use of my sliders on the right, and then I'm just going to do the line work over this. So let's get into that fun part. So when all that is done and the shape is basically the way you want it, what I'm going to do now is just going to redefine some of the shapes, get the proportions right, see that both the left and the right sides measure up to each other. I'm going to do the abdominal muscles. You'll see me in this one, I'm going to make the abdominal muscles a bit bigger than what they usually are. It's just to give you, or to show you with the shading part, how easy it is to shade it. So that's the reason why I'm making the ab muscles a bit bigger. So in real life they're not that big. Yes, some people might do it. Again, it's a stature thing. But for this one, I'm just going to make them a bit bigger so you can see how I do the shading part of it. So from this point onwards, I'm also going to go a bit faster through the video up until the line and the shading parts, and then I'm going to go into the explanation further about that. But hope you enjoy this part, and remember, you can always slow it, pause it and slow it down if you don't understand something. But let's get into the fast action. So this is going to be a fast tutorial that you see me doing on the right, showing the shapes and the stuff that's in this drawing and how quickly it is. Just starts off with circles and goes over to diamond shapes, then it goes into half circles, V shapes, triangles, and all those things. It's just a simple way, and it's just a quick demonstration of how to get your shapes ready. So what you will see me here is just making the layer a bit lighter, and then I'll make another layer on top of that. I'll switch over to the black ink pen, and then I'll just get a point of reference for the light source, and then I'll start inking or lining over my light drawing just to define the shapes and everything. Okay, so now that the line work is done, we're going to do the shading. Now, important thing to remember by the shading, when you draw the body, keep this in mind. As you can see that I'm drawing the body from the side. Now, I split that also to give the proportions over the center point line and then the direction of the light. So the areas that's above the other areas will be shaded and the areas below will be darker. Now remember also when you do the parts that's in the light area, remember they're also overlapping the bottom part of that same muscle group. So the bottom part of that same muscle group will also have shading. So just always take note and make the drawing that I'm doing there, it's a quick way for you to remember how to put the shading in, what areas will be reflected and what areas will be shaded within your drawing. So just take note, always put a small drawing like that to the side of your sketch so you can always refer back to that when you do the shading. But let's get into the shading part, which is the fun part of the drawing. I always enjoy it. So for the shading part of this drawing, I'm going to do another layer. And I'm going to switch up my pen to a red color. I always like putting the shading in a red pen. I'm also going to make the pen a bit bigger because we're going to do coloring in. Usually when I draw on paper, I would make use of a lot of cross hatching and stuff like that, or ideas like that. But in this one, because digital, it's a bit difficult, I'm just going to do the color and you can always refine it later on. So what I'm doing there is just showing you that most people, when they draw in the shading for muscles, they like to keep it roundish. And in real life, muscles, the shading on muscles aren't rounded. They're more angular. So always try and keep your shading lines angular. So you'll also just see me sketching out these angular shapes on the muscle groups. It's just to give me an idea, and when I'm happy with the idea, I'll start coloring in the muscles. Now always remember, when you do the shading of the muscle or the coloring of that muscle group, you'll start from the darkest point, you'll start the darkest, and as it moves along into the light source, you'll go lighter, and at some point you can just make like dots or spaces in between to simulate that breakup in the shading. So you'll see me doing a proper shading on the right side, and then on the left side I'll just quickly show you how I get to the idea of the shading. Remember also, don't be angry if it doesn't look good for you the first time. Like I said, it's on a new layer, you can always go back. It's just to give you an idea, and usually after this process and I'm happy with everything, I'll do the inking, which I'll also do on a new layer. But for this tutorial, we're not going to be going into the inking part of it. So you'll see me out fleshing out the various muscles and the shadings of going up and down and all those things. Always try, when you go from left to right, the shading doesn't always have to be linear, meaning it doesn't have to be the same. What you're doing on the left doesn't have to be the same on the right with the mass and stuff like that, because as a person turns and stuff, but different muscle parts are flexing and stuff like that. So try and keep it not balanced, to give that human side to it. But let's go into another speed a part of it up until the end of the video. So I hope you enjoy it. So people, this brings us to the end of this video. So I hope you could see through the processes that I make use and how easy it is to actually draw, line and shade the torso. It's very easy, and remember what I said, the size and the shape of your torso always will depend on what type of artist you are. Are you a comic, anime, superhero, graphic novel, realist, whatever. So always just try and keep that in mind. Like I said, use the 3 processes, use the sketching or the idea process, use the line refinement and use the shading part. It gives life, it doesn't, I won't say it gives life to your drawing, but it gives you an idea on how to get your shape where you want it. Always take note also, there's the 8 muscle groups that you have to have in your drawing to make it look realistic. I'm just gonna call out the major ones, but you'll see me draw 8 of them in there. But remember, it's the pectorals, which is the chest. It's the deltoids, which is the shoulders. It's the trapezoid, which is part of the shoulder and the back muscles going into your neck. It's the neck. It's the obliques. It's the abdominal muscles. Remember all of those. Those are the key muscle groups that defines the torso. And remember, like I said, play around with the size of these muscles. It will give you different I wouldn't say feelings, but postures to your drawing. If you want a strong feral type guy like the Hulk, you'll go big on the torso. You'll give him massive chest muscles, massive shoulder muscles, small hip and stuff like that. So always keep that in mind. Play around with the mass of your character. You know, try to offset that scale of normal ideas to drawing, and just get to where you want to go to enjoy this sketch. So with that, I really hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, this is the 3rd video in this series. I hope you're enjoying this series. Always, if you like this video, hit that like button. If you know people that's in the art business, that's starting out and they're struggling, refer them, share my video with them. In the long run, it does help me. Like I said, I'm not doing this to get any type of payment or money wise out of this. I'm just doing it for fun. So maybe one day it will be like an art portfolio. But yeah, like this video, share this video, hit me up in the comments if there's something you would like me to see drawn next, like the eye, hands, whatever. Just hit me up and I will see if I can do a video, and I will see to get them out as quickly as possible. Again, in ending, I'd like to apologize for this video coming out light. Like I said, OBS and the sound with my voice, it had an issue. I might be changing my recording software due to this, because I can't go back every time re-editing these videos. It does take long to edit a video. But enjoy it, share it with your friends. Hope this was a learning experience for you. I do apologize again for all the mistakes in the audio and all those things, but it will get sorted out as I go along in the future. But hope to see you next time on the next video. I think on the next video, on part 4, we might be doing the arm. I always love drawing the arm. It's the hardest part of the body for me to draw, because it's got a ton of muscles, and yeah. But it's going to be fun. We're going to enjoy this one. So check you guys on the next one, and be safe. Enjoy.
Beat it.